I ate Disney Cruise Line's most expensive meal, and I'm going to tell you all about it. We're going to go all through the dinner. That was the most expensive meal that we ate on Disney Cruise Line, and I'm also going to give you multiple options where you can have a more affordable version, but still get to try some of their food. Okay, so many of you know that Disney has amazing food. They are definitely not novices when it comes to fine dining. And one of the stars in their restaurant roster is Victoria and Albert's. Now, how does this tie into Disney Cruise's most expensive meal? I'm going to tell you right now. The most expensive meal on Disney Cruise Line right now is Remy. That is their fine dining French restaurant aboard Disney Fantasy and Disney Dream. Enchanté on the Disney Wish is a bit of a takeoff on this as well. But first, let's get into a little bit of the history. Remy will feature a French-inspired menu featuring superior seasonal ingredients. As they say, it is always a first-rate gastronomic affair. Their gourmet menus are specially created using fresh, seasonal ingredients in a fine dining setting. Gourmet menus will be specially curated by Chef Scott Hunnell from the award-winning Victoria and Albert's at Walt Disney World Resort and advising Chef Arnaud Lallement. He is a 3 Michelin-starred chef. He has a restaurant in France, and he has also recently been named one of the world's 10 best chefs in a list compiled by Le Chef. This list is compiled by other 2- and 3-star Michelin chefs from around the globe. Remy kind of gets its start with Victoria and Albert's because of the chefs, so I just want to give you a little bit of their history. Victoria and Albert's is the winner of the prestigious AAA 5 Diamond Award every year since 2000. They also have received the Forbes Travel Guide 5-Star Award. The team at Victoria and Albert's is now led by Chef de Cuisine Matthew Sowers. He was mentored by Chef Scott Hunnell, who recruited him for the team at Victoria and Albert, which then provided Chef Scott Hunnell with a little more time to give to Remy. He is now the culinary director and sustains the legacy of Victoria and Albert's, as well as providing guidance and support across multiple Walt Disney World Resort hotels. The AAA Diamond rating is also a huge factor. 5 diamonds is the highest that they can get. Now, what does that AAA 5 Diamond Award mean? Basically, it's the ultimate in luxury, the creme de la creme, the leading edge. You can expect an evening of wow moments when you're dining at a 5-diamond restaurant. 3 Michelin stars is a huge factor here as well. For restaurants, there is no greater accolade than being awarded the prestigious Michelin star. Well, unless you get 2 or 3. And Chef Arnaud Lallement is a 3 Michelin-starred chef. The Michelin Guide is basically a fine dining Bible. When they are considering a chef for Michelin stars, they look at the quality of the product, the mastery of the flavor and cooking techniques, the personality of the chef in their cuisine, value for money, and consistency between visits. Michelin stars are all about the food. Here's what the stars mean. 1 star, high quality cooking, worth a stop. 2 stars, excellent cooking, definitely worth a detour. And 3 stars, exceptional cuisine, worth a special journey. And Remy on the Disney Fantasy is absolutely a special journey. We're gonna go all through the dinner. That was the most expensive meal that we ate on Disney Cruise Line, and I'm also going to give you multiple options where you can have a more affordable version but still get to try some of their food. As you may know, Remy is based on that wonderful movie Ratatouille. The dining room is reminiscent of Chef Arnaud's home country, Paris. It is softly lit, it is in an Art Nouveau style, and they're really going to showcase those rich red and gold tones. There's also a view of the ocean. It's really a beautiful, beautiful restaurant. Per Disney Cruise Line's website, adding to the sophisticated ambiance, the tables are set with fret linen, Riedel glassware, Christophe silverware, and china created exclusively for the restaurant. And of course, for a little bit of Disney magic, Remy, the character from that hit Disney Pixar film Ratatouille, appears in artful ways throughout the restaurant's design. And for you wine lovers, their wine room is extensive. They have more than 900 bottles of old and new world wines. And that wine room is really beautiful. It's glass encased with marble flooring. Make sure and take a look at that. They also have their private dining room, which is called the Gaston Room. Here you will get to enjoy a unique multi-course menu, interactions with the head chef, and of course, elegant Ratatouille-inspired decor. Now you do want to make sure you make reservations for Remy. When it is time for you to select your activities online, Whatever's most important to you, go there first. And if that's Remy, that's what I suggest. Now, one thing to keep in mind, when you make those reservations for Remy, it is best if you can go on one of the earlier evenings of your cruise. I say that because, one, Remy is a heavy meal. They have really small portions, but it does add up. It's about a 3-hour experience, and you will not leave there hungry. If you are going on the last night of your cruise, though, you could arrive not hungry. There's a lot of food on Disney Cruise Line. It is easy to overindulge. So if you can have your Remy dinner a little earlier in the cruise, you'll probably be able to enjoy it just a little bit more. One other thing that I would not do is have a Apollo or Remy brunch on the day of your dinner, or even the day after, unless you schedule it late in the day, because that rich food does add up and you really want to enjoy this meal. It is worth it. A couple of other housekeeping notes for Remy. They do require a 24-hour notice to cancel a dining reservation. They do have a strict dress code. Formal or semi-formal attire is recommended. Dress casual attire with a polished look is permitted. With their dinner selections, you can also get wine tasting. If you're going to be enjoying the wine tasting with your dinner, there is a pre-dinner service that you may do. Once your dinner is booked and you are on board the ship, you may meet up with a sommelier in Remy's wine room to pre-select your wines for the evening. Those are an additional charge at $105 per person. Their dinner prefix menu is $125 per person. The a la carte menu is priced by item, and the Remy wine pairing experience is $105 per person. And they do have more you can add on there. For example, we did the Miyazaki taste comparison, and we'll definitely get into that. We enjoyed the Remy dinner on the Fantasy in December of 2019. For this dinner, we had 4 of us, and we were placed in their private dining room. At the time, I didn't quite understand why the chef came out to talk to us, but now it makes sense. The Gusteau room is really beautiful. It was really nice to be back in there all by ourselves. Plus, it was Christmas, so the Christmas tree was beside us. It was just a lot of fun. Now, I will say that I was a tiny bit concerned that my palate would not be quite refined enough to enjoy Remy. I'm a little bit picky at times, and I think I was probably the least adventurous, especially in regards to seafood, fish, and duck, so that didn't give them a lot of room to work with. And that was perfectly fine. They did go over my likes and dislikes with me, and then they suggested some other options, and just made some adjustments to that prefix menu, and it was no big deal at all. They are happy to do that. It is an individual experience, and they want you to enjoy the food, so if there's something that you're not particularly fond of and you just don't want to try it, let them know. And of course, if you want to be adventurous, this is a great time to do it because everything they make is fabulous. There are a few of things that I don't really like eating most of the times, and the way they prepared it, it was just phenomenal. The service at Remy is exquisite and very detailed. Ultimately, this meal is an experience for the senses, and they are quite happy to amend or even just surprise you. Also, make sure and let them know if you have any dietary considerations. And try to save room for dessert because there are multiple of them. Another quick bite from Disney's website. A quick glance at the seasonal menu reveals Chef Arnaud's culinary influence throughout, with multiple tasting courses celebrating the sea, the earth, and fresh ingredients culled from the world market. Artfully prepared dishes include such delicacies as langoustine, duck, elk, sablefish, and Kobe beef. For me, the Kobe beef is what really got my attention. I saw that you can do a Miyazaki pairing. I couldn't wait to try that out. You will also get to enjoy the global offerings of a gourmet cheese trolley and after-dinner coffee service. So let's get started on the menus. The very first thing you're going to find on Disney Cruise Line's tables is bread. But of course at Remy that's going to be a little bit different because it's a gastronomic affair. So what you're going to start with, you're going to start off with their complimentary cocktail, the Colette, or if you prefer, they also have a non-alcoholic option as well. The signature cocktail features Taittinger Brut, Grand Marnier, Grey Goose VX, along with dried pineapple and Cassie's Pearls. It's a really beautiful drink and it was quite good. The Savoir is the French-inspired menu, while the Gout is the American-inspired menu. Before they brought out any of our courses that were listed with this meal, they started off with the amuse-bouche. Amuse-bouche is French and is for a single bite-sized hors d'oeuvre. These are a little bit different than appetizers because the amuse-bouches are not on the menu. This is something that the chef just brings you. Basically, an amuse-bouche is to prepare the guests for the meal and to offer a glimpse of the chef's style. The term is French and literally means mouth amuser. The amuse-bouche is a single bite, and here we have the foie gras and cauliflower with lime zest. Foie gras is a French delicacy, and basically it's duck or goose liver. And the second one is a cauliflower foam with lime zest. They were both really light, just a nice quick bite. I actually am Not necessarily a lover of foie gras or cauliflower, but I have to say these were really delicious. They do make these so that the bite all goes together. There's going to be multiple elements within that bite, and they just pair perfectly when you eat them as one bite. The other amuse-bouche was parsnip puree. You crack the top of that and eat it as one bite. Obviously not all of it in one bite. It's really good with just a bit of lime in there as well. Since we did some variations on this, we don't actually have all of the details of the entire meal, but they change so often anyway, it's more of a generality. A really fun note that I found on Disney Cruise Line blog is that the bread dough is now being made by a master bread maker in France, and it's baked fresh on the ships. So if you're like me and you try and avoid some of that bread to help with the meal, make sure you try some of this. If you don't want the Colette, if you want to try their non-alcoholic drink, they will typically offer a linguine. It's a passion fruit, jasmine tea, and raspberry puree, 0 proof drink, otherwise known as non-alcoholic. The tomato and langoustine was really good, and their gnocchi is one of the favorite dishes that I have seen. This lobster with artichoke hearts and a foamy sauce, absolutely amazing. It's really hard to describe how all of these tastes go together. It's definitely an experience that you're gonna have to go try for yourself, and I have to say it's totally worth it. If you are curious at all about trying Remy, I think the Petite Assis is probably a good way, but dinner was fabulous. And even though these courses look small, this really adds up because there's like 7 or 9 of them, especially with the amuse-bouche and the palate cleanser. So you definitely want to be hungry when you get there. This is a curry roasted cauliflower that did not taste like any curry or cauliflower I have ever had. It had a nice little smoky char. It was really excellent. And this lobster dish with artichoke hearts was really excellent. I'm not exactly sure what that little crispy is, but it all went together really well. They have Wagyu on their menu, and then they also have Miyazaki, which you can add for a beef comparison. And if you're wondering what Wagyu is, Wagyu translates to Japanese cow. There are 4 different breeds of Wagyu in Japan. Wagyu is a luxury item, so they really take care of those cows. From the time of birth, records of the mother, father, grandparents, and extended family are recorded. This also allows tracking of their lineage and ensures absolute transparency. They then take a nose print of the cow, which acts like a fingerprint, and then all Wagyu is graded and provided with a unique cattle ID number. With that number, you can trace the history of your meal to go into details of birth, gender, lineage, bream, farm. They really make sure that this is excellent beef because it is a luxury item, and of course, details are key. Wagyu are raised with special care for no more than 30 months. From the time they are born, Wagyu is extreme luxury, so they really take care to do it very particularly. They are fed for over 600 days on a special diet, and this is what promotes the high quality fat content, also known as marbling. Wagyu is often referred to as Kobe beef. All Miyazaki is Wagyu, but not all Wagyu is Miyazaki. Miyazaki is one step above the Wagyu, and it is the cream of the crop of all Wagyu. It is quite literally the best beef in the world. They told me this Miyazaki would taste like butter, and they were right. Full disclosure, I am a ribeye girl, so the Miyazaki was certainly more similar to a filet, but it really was like butter. It was amazing. It just kind of melts in your mouth, which is really bizarre for steak, but a wonderful experience. It's an extra $60 for that Miyazaki pairing. I highly recommend it. Their cheese cart has multiple selections. It'll start with hard cheeses on one end, have some nice soft bries in the middle, and then go over to your stinky blue cheeses, etc. on the other end. You can tell them exactly which ones you would like. You can try them all or just a few. It's up to you. They also have some dried fruits like figs, apricots, a little bit of honeycomb. All of this is going to come almost at the end of your meal, but before the dessert. And then, of course, get ready for dessert because they bring out a lot. Now, as you can see, we have multiple desserts here. They will start off with the dessert from your menu. One was a chocolate, the other one was a fruit flavor, but that's definitely not all. After that, they brought out these little Remy hats and fruit leathers. How cute are these? They're like fancy fruit roll-ups. They also brought out this beautiful red dessert. I wish I could remember what it's called, but it was really good. And then they brought out this egg with a tart in it. That was a really fun presentation as well. They really do enjoy the presentation at Remy because it is the entire experience. Now, of course, we had to have some espresso with that because this meal is a lot. And then with our espresso, they brought a couple of more desserts. They also give you a little box of chocolates and some suckers that you can take back to the room, as well as a rose. Okay, so here are the other 3 ways that you can experience Remy. I have to say, I think one of these is probably the absolute best. Starting with the Remy Champagne Brunch. Disney Cruise Line's website states, indulge your palate during an elegant champagne brunch, featuring a glass of bubbly and a French-inspired prefix meal that includes such delicacies as vegetable risotto, lobster cannelloni, sea bass veal gnocchi, and a decadent dessert. The Remy Champagne Brunch is $75 per person, $30 additional when adding the champagne pairing. Which is kind of funny, you would think it would come with it. I've heard it's really fun. I've heard it's really nice though, a really fun way to experience their food with a little bit less formality. Still need reservations, still have a dress code, but brunch is just a little bit more lighthearted than dinner. They also have a Remy dessert experience. This is $60 per person, an additional $25 when adding the wine pairing. And please note, all of these prices could have gone up today, you never know, so make sure you double check. In the Remy dessert experience, you'll have a 5-course dessert menu served with coffee. The fun part of this is that there's also an in-depth discussion with Remy's executive chef and pastry chef. They will take turns explaining the history and evolution of each sweet selection. And the one I think is probably the absolute best, and I didn't even realize this existed, is the Petites Assiettes de Remy. This is only on the first night of the cruise, and you cannot book it until you get on the ship. Disney's website says, with this one, embark on a tour of Remy and a 6-course wine tasting paired with small plates of gourmet cuisine. Hosted by Remy's executive chef and sommelier, this unique Tiny Plates dining experience is offered during the early evening hours on the first day of your cruise and concludes with dessert at the private chef's table. I think this is a fabulous way to get to try their food and the wine tasting for a really great price. We're definitely doing that next time. So if you've tried it, let us know what you think in the comments below. I'm extremely intrigued by that one. Remy dinner was one of our favorite experiences on the ship. It was really fun for all 4 of us to enjoy it in that private dining room. The attention to detail in the service is second to none. If you're considering it, I highly suggest it. And if you've done that Petites Assiettes de Remy, please let us know. I apologize, I'm sure I'm saying that wrong. But I think that's a fabulous way to get to try their food and their wine tasting at a really delightful price. If you haven't seen it, we've got a Disney Wonder Master Guide, or How I Board a Disney Cruise Like a Pro. Thanks for being here, everybody. Thanks for joining in the Disney fun. If you haven't yet, go ahead and subscribe. Ring that little bell. It'll let you know when we have any new videos. And we'll see you real soon with some more Disneys.